My neighbor came over and demanded that I turn on my Wi-Fi, which he had been stealing for years. I'm a 34-year-old guy living in what I thought was a quiet, normal neighborhood. I've been in this house for about 3 years now, and I work from home as a software developer. When I moved in, I splurged on a super-fast fiber internet connection. It's not cheap, but it's basically my lifeline for work. Plus, I'm not going to lie, it's pretty sweet for Netflix binges and the occasional gaming session after hours. Yesterday, I was doing my usual tech guy routine, just some checks on my home network, making sure everything was running smoothly, no weird hiccups, that kind of stuff. That's when I noticed something off. There were devices connected to my Wi-Fi that I didn't recognize. At first, I thought, did I buy some smart light bulb and forget about it? But as I dug deeper, I realized these weren't just random IoT gadgets. We're talking full-on computers and phones, and unless I sleepwalked to the electronics store, they definitely weren't mine. Now, I'm not usually the paranoid type, but this set off all kinds of alarm bells. I mean, we've all heard those stories about hackers and identity theft, right? So I did what any sane person would do. I changed my Wi-Fi password, figuring that would solve the problem and I could get back to my exciting evening of debugging code. Not even 20 minutes later, I kid you not, there's this angry pounding on my front door. I open it and there's my neighbor. Let's call him Gary. He's this 28-year-old guy I've seen around but never really talked to much, and let me tell you, he was not happy. "Why isn't the internet working?" he demands, like I'm some kind of IT support for the whole neighborhood. I'm standing there completely confused. Why would my internet issues affect him? And then it hits me. The random devices, the angry neighbor. It clicks into place. This guy had been using my Wi-Fi without asking for who knows how long. And Reddit, that's just the beginning of this bizarre story. So there I am, face to face with Gary, who's looking at me like I just canceled Christmas. I try to explain that I don't know what he's talking about, but he's not having it. He starts going on about how he's in the middle of some big gaming tournament and that I've just ruined everything by messing with the Wi-Fi. At this point, I'm still trying to wrap my head around what's happening. I mean, is this guy for real? I ask him point blank if he's been using my Wi-Fi, and you know what he does? He looks at me like I'm the crazy one and says, "Well, duh, everyone does." Everyone does? I'm sorry, but when did my house become the neighborhood Starbucks? I tell Gary that no, not everyone uses my Wi-Fi because it's, mine. And that's when he drops the bombshell. Apparently Gary isn't just any neighbor. Oh no, he's a YouTube gamer. That's right, folks. We've got a celebrity in our midst. He goes on this long-winded explanation about how he needs my super-fast connection for his streams and tournaments. According to Gary, his whole livelihood depends on mooching off my internet. He's throwing around terms like subscribers and donations like they're supposed to mean something to me. But wait, it gets better. Gary then has the audacity to tell me that he can't afford his own high-speed connection because, get this, he's investing all his money in his gaming career. I'm sorry, but last time I checked, investing in your career doesn't mean stealing from your neighbor. I try to explain to Gary that what he's doing is theft, plain and simple, but he's not having it. He starts getting all worked up, saying he's losing subscribers as we speak. He's practically foaming at the mouth, going on about how I'm ruining his career. And after shattering his dreams, he actually tries to negotiate with me. He says he'll make it up to me if I just turn the Wi-Fi back on. When I ask him how exactly he plans to do that, he gets all vague and shifty-eyed, totally not suspicious at all. But the best part of this absurd encounter is when Gary, with a straight face, tells me he's been spreading the word around the neighborhood that my Wi-Fi is a community service I'm providing. Apparently, I'm an unwitting benefactor offering free internet out of the kindness of my heart. I'm standing there trying to wrap my head around this, wondering if I'm being pranked and if Ashton Kutcher will pop out from behind a bush any second. But no, this is real life, my real life, and it's turned into a twisted sitcom. I firmly tell Gary that the free ride is over. I'm not turning my Wi-Fi back on for him. I'm not sharing my new password, and if I catch anyone else using my connection without permission, I'll change the password again. Gary stomps off like a kid denied ice cream for dinner. grumbling about how I'm ruining community spirit and how his fans will be so let down. As if things couldn't get stranger, over the next few days, I start noticing other neighbors giving me dirty looks. Mrs. Johnson from across the street, who used to bring me cookies, suddenly avoids eye contact. The guy next door, who I usually chat with while mowing the lawn, now seems too busy to say hi. It hits me that Gary wasn't lying about everything. He really had been telling people my Wi-Fi was up for grabs. Now I'm the villain for wanting to keep my own internet to myself. The nerve of these people is astounding. After doing some digging, I discover that quite a few of my neighbors have been happily using my Wi-Fi for who knows how long. The teenager 2 doors down has been using it for her TikTok videos. The couple in the blue house have been streaming Netflix on it, and don't even get me started on the old guy at the end of the street who's apparently discovered online poker. It feels like I've stumbled into a bizarre alternate reality where personal property doesn't exist, and I'm suddenly responsible for everyone's internet needs. I half expect to wake up one morning and find someone has set up a desk in my living room because they need a quiet place to work. This whole situation has me questioning my sanity. Am I the crazy one here? Is this some new social norm that I missed a memo on? Thou shalt share thy Wi-Fi with thy neighbor and thy neighbor's third cousin twice removed? I'm standing my ground. I've changed all my passwords, beefed up my security, and am even considering naming my new network something passive-aggressive like "Get your own damn Wi-Fi" or "Nice try, Gary." But I can't help wondering if I'm overreacting. Yes, they were essentially stealing from me, and Gary's entitlement is off the charts. But am I wrong for cutting them off without warning? Should I have handed out flyers first? Attention neighbors, the free ride is over. Please redirect your mooching elsewhere. I'm just frustrated and a bit betrayed. I've always tried to be a good neighbor. I keep my lawn mowed, don't play loud music at night, and even fostered Mrs. Johnson's cat when she went on vacation last year. And this is the thanks I get. A bunch of internet vampires draining my bandwidth. So Reddit, here I am, seeking your collective wisdom. Do I stand my ground and risk being known as the Wi-Fi Grinch, cave and become the neighborhood's personal ISP? Or just put my house on the market and move somewhere people understand the concept of personal property? I'm at my wit's end here, folks. My home network is secure, but my faith in humanity is shakier than a Zoom call on dial-up. Any advice would be appreciated, even if it's just reassurance that I haven't accidentally stepped into an episode of Black Mirror. So, what do you think, Reddit? Update. Holy cow, Reddit, you won't believe what just happened. It's been about a week since I changed my Wi-Fi password and became the neighborhood pariah. I thought things were finally calming down when last night, while enjoying some well-deserved me time with my secure Wi-Fi, there was a knock at the door. No, scratch that. It was more like an angry mob pounding on my door. I open it to find Gary, looking like a wannabe revolutionary leader, flanked by a group of neighbors. In his infinite wisdom, Gary decided that the best way to handle this situation was to stage a Wi-Fi intervention. I kid you not. He starts ranting about how I'm disrupting neighborhood harmony and depriving people of a basic necessity. Basic necessity? I must have missed the part where Wi-Fi was classified as air or water. But it gets better. Gary, our very own Sherpa of the digital age, presents me with a petition. Yes, an actual honest-to-God petition signed by half the neighborhood, demanding that I share my Wi-Fi for free. Apparently, I'm now running for the position of neighborhood Wi-Fi provider, a position I neither wanted nor knew existed. I tell Gary and his merry band of moochers that the answer remains no. I even offer to help them research affordable internet plans, but no. They want my Wi-Fi or nothing. After a heated exchange that probably entertained any neighbors not in Gary's cult of free internet, they finally leave. I thought that was the end of it. The next morning, I woke up to find my front lawn transformed into an abstract art piece. Someone had sprayed weed killer all over it, spelling out Wi-Fi miser in giant dead grass letters. Real mature, Gary. But Gary wasn't done with his masterpiece. Oh no. My car was covered in sticky notes, each one sporting a poorly drawn Wi-Fi symbol. And as the pièce de résistance, someone had taped dozens of old routers and modems to my front door, creating a bizarre techno wreath. That was the last straw. I called the police. Long story short, it turns out Gary isn't the criminal mastermind he fancied himself to be. My security cameras caught him in the act, along with a few of his accomplices. The police were not impressed by Gary's protest art. Now Gary is facing charges for vandalism and trespassing. He's also responsible for repairing my lawn, repainting my car, and covering my therapy bills. The cherry on top of this Wi-Fi sundae? The judge ordered Gary to pay for a year of my internet bills as part of the restitution. Oh, the irony. As for the rest of the neighbors, they've suddenly become very interested in their shoes whenever they see me. Funny how that works. So there you have it, Reddit. The great Wi-Fi war of 2023 has come to an end. Gary's dreams of communal internet are dead, much like the grass on my lawn. But hey, at least I'm getting free internet for a year. Silver linings, right? Thanks for all your support through this bizarre journey. Remember, folks, good fences make good neighbors, but good Wi-Fi passwords make even better ones. Now for the second story. AETA for telling my mother-in-law to stay away because my baby hates her? Okay, so I, 28F, never thought I'd be posting here, but I'm honestly at my wit's end. My husband, let's call him Adam, 29 million, and I have been together forever. High school sweethearts and all that jazz. We've got this adorable little terror of a daughter, Rose, who just turned 10 months old. Usually Rose is all smiles and giggles, except when it comes to one person. My mother-in-law, Cataline. It's like something out of a bad comedy. The second Cataline walks through our door, Rose turns into a banshee. Ear-splitting screams, red-faced meltdowns, the works. And it's only with Cataline. Everyone else gets to see Rose's best side. Cataline isn't some evil witch or anything. She's actually pretty cool most of the time. Retired teacher, bakes a mean apple pie, you know the type. She was thrilled when we told her she was going to be a grandma, but now things aren't going according to plan. We've tried everything, changing Cataline's perfume, having her wear different clothes, even attempting some baby whisperer techniques. Adam's getting frustrated, Cataline's heartbroken, and I'm stuck in the middle, feeling like the world's worst daughter-in-law and mom. But here's where I might be the a-hole. After months of this, I kind of lost it and told Cataline to stay away. Now everything's gone to hell in a handbasket. So Reddit, am I the a-hole here? Or am I just losing my mind? Help a sleep-deprived mom out. All right, let me paint you a picture of what we're dealing with here. Imagine the sweetest baby girl, all chubby cheeks and gummy smiles. That's my Rose. But as soon as Cataline shows up, it's like someone flipped a switch and we're suddenly in a horror movie. I'm not exaggerating when I say Rose loses her tiny mind. Full-on meltdowns that could probably be heard from space. And it's not just a quick cry. It goes on for the entire time Cataline is around, which, by the way, can be hours. At first, we thought it was just stranger anxiety or something, but no. Rose is totally chill with everyone else. She even loves my dad, who has this huge bushy beard that would scare most kids. But Cataline? Instant waterworks. We've tried everything short of an exorcism at this point. Changed Cataline's perfume, had her wear different clothes, and even tried having her sneak in while Rose was napping. But as soon as Rose opened her eyes, it was screaming bloody murder. Adam's starting to lose it. He keeps saying we need to fix this like it's a leaky faucet or something. His brilliant idea? Have Cataline come over more often because clearly what this situation needs is more screaming. I get where he's coming from. He wants his mom and daughter to bond. But at this point, I'm pretty sure we're traumatizing both of them. And let's be honest, my eardrums can only handle so much. My mom flew in from out of state last month, and Rose was practically glued to her. I swear, Adam looked like he'd bitten into a lemon the whole time. Now he's on this mission to make Rose love Cataline, and it's driving me up the wall. I know we can't force this. Rose will do what she'll do. But try telling that to my husband and his mom. It's like banging my head against a brick wall, except the wall is crying and my husband is giving me the stink eye. It's stupid o'clock in the morning, and I'm shuffling around like a zombie because Rose decided 3 a.m. was the perfect time for an impromptu teething party. My hair looks like a bird's nest, and I'm pretty sure there's dried drool on my chin. Sexy, right? I'm in the kitchen attempting to caffeinate myself back to life when suddenly, ding dong. Who in their right mind is at my door at this ungodly hour? I drag myself over, thinking it's probably a package or something. Nope. It's Cataline standing there with a perky smile and a casserole dish, like she's auditioning for a 1950s sitcom. Now, I really do like Cataline, but in that moment, seeing her chipper face while I'm barely holding it together, something in me just snapped. Before I could engage my brain-to-mouth filter, words started tumbling out. It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. Except I was the train, and my filter was the unfortunate victim. I blurted out something along the lines of, "Cataline, I can't do this right now. The baby hates you, I'm exhausted, and I just can't." The look on her face was like someone had told her Santa isn't real, her dog ran away, and she had spinach in her teeth all at once. She just stood there, the casserole dish slowly drooping in her hands, looking as if I'd slapped her with a wet fish. Before I could backpedal or explain, she turned and practically sprinted back to her car. The last thing I saw was the casserole dish wobbling precariously as she peeled out of our driveway like she was auditioning for a Fast and Furious sequel. Grandma edition. I stood there for a solid minute, the door still open, wondering if I'd hallucinated the whole thing. But no, the lingering scent of Cataline's signature perfume confirmed it was all too real. Fast forward a few hours and my phone starts blowing up like it's the apocalypse. Turns out Cataline had gone straight to Adam's workplace because nothing says "I'm upset" like ambushing your son at his job, right? She'd given him a tearful, slightly melodramatic account of how I'd basically declared her persona non grata in our house and that her grandbaby hated her guts. Was that exactly what I said? Number? Was it kind of the gist? Maybe. But context is everything. Adam comes home early, steam practically coming out of his ears. I swear, if this were a cartoon, his face would be beet red with one of those angry vein thingies popping out. He starts in on me before he's even fully through the door, ranting about how I've crushed his mother's soul and probably given her PTSD or something. I try to explain. Really, I do. I tell him about the sleep deprivation, the constant screaming, and how I'm at my wit's end. But Adam's not having it. He's all, "That's my mother," and "How could you be so insensitive?" Meanwhile, I'm standing there thinking, dude, have you even been present for the last 10 months? He starts throwing around words like cruel and heartless, aimed at me, the woman who's been dealing with a baby who turns into the exorcist kid every time Grandma shows up. The irony is so thick you could spread it on toast. But it doesn't stop there. Oh no, because why would the universe give me a break? Suddenly, I'm getting passive-aggressive texts from Adam's sisters. Apparently, in the family grapevine's game of telephone, I've gone from a sleep-deprived mom at her wit's end to some kind of baby-hoarding monster. One of Adam's sisters, let's call her Karen because of course that's her name, had the audacity to suggest that maybe I'm just jealous of Cataline's natural grandmotherly bond with Rose. I nearly choked on my cold coffee reading that. Natural bond? More like a natural disaster. Meanwhile, Cataline has gone radio silent, which is honestly kind of a relief, but also weirdly unsettling. It's like waiting for the other shoe to drop, except the shoe is bedazzled with guilt and family drama. Adam's sleeping on the couch now, by the way. His choice, not mine. He claims he can't bear to sleep next to someone who could be so cruel to his mother. I pointed out that he seemed perfectly fine sleeping next to someone who's been dealing with a screaming baby for months, but apparently, that was the wrong thing to say. Who knew? I'm caught in a tornado of family drama, with a husband who's acting like I've committed a cardinal sin, in-laws who probably think I'm running a grandma-hating cult, and a baby who, plot twist, is sleeping peacefully for once. The cherry on top of this Sunday of chaos? I overheard Adam on the phone with Cataline, promising her that he'd fix this and suggesting she come over more often because clearly, what this situation needs is more opportunities for baby banshee screaming and grandma's tears. I'm stuck in this bizarre limbo where I'm simultaneously the bad guy for hurting Cataline's feelings and the bad guy for not magically making my baby love her grandmother. It's like being trapped in a lose-lose situation, except instead of a game, it's my actual life. So, dear Reddit, that's where we're at. My husband thinks I'm the Wicked Witch of the West. My mother-in-law is probably burning effigies of me. And I'm just sitting here wondering how my life turned into this. Update. Holy guacamole, folks. This saga took a turn that even M. Night Shyamalan couldn't have seen coming. First off, thanks for all your comments. Reading through them was like riding an emotional roller coaster while being hit with a confetti cannon of advice. Some of you think I'm the second coming of Mother Teresa. Others are convinced I eat babies for breakfast. The truth is somewhere in the middle, with a side of sleep deprivation and questionable fashion choices. So what's happened since my last post? After spending a few days dodging my husband's death glares and fielding passive-aggressive text from his family, I decided to take action. And by action, I mean I ugly cried in the shower for 20 minutes, then emerged with a plan. Step 1. I called a family meeting. Picture the most awkward Thanksgiving dinner you've ever had, then multiply that by about 1,000. That was the vibe in our living room. Adam sat there looking like he'd swallowed a lemon. Cataline perched on the edge of the sofa as if it might bite her, and I'm pretty sure I saw tumbleweed roll by at one point. I laid it all out. The exhaustion, the frustration, the guilt. I apologized for my outburst and suggested we all take a deep breath and approach this like rational adults. Crazy concept, right? To my surprise, they listened. Cataline even teared up a bit, admitting she'd been pushing too hard because she was terrified of not having a relationship with Rose. Progress, people. We agreed to try a new approach. Instead of forcing interactions, we decided to take it slow. Cataline would come over for short visits, staying in the background while Rose got used to her presence. No pressure, no expectations. And you know what? For a hot minute there, it seemed to be working. Rose's screaming fits downgraded from banshee with a megaphone to mildly annoyed cat. We even had one glorious afternoon where she let Cataline hand her a toy without unleashing the Kraken. I nearly wept with joy, but because the universe has a twisted sense of humor, that's when things went sideways. Remember how I mentioned I'm a pediatric nurse? Well, about a week into our new Operation Grandma desensitization, I had a late shift at the hospital. It was one of those nights, understaffed, overworked, and more coffee than blood in my veins. I was doing my rounds when I heard it. That cry, the one that had been the soundtrack to my nightmares for months. I froze, thinking I'd finally lost it. But nope, there it was again. Rose's distinctive grandma alarm. I sprinted down the hall and burst into the room where the cry was coming from. And there, in all her glory, was Cataline holding a baby. A baby that was very much not Rose. Turns out Cataline volunteers at the hospital, has been for years. Apparently in the pediatric ward, holding babies, lots and lots of babies, who all, and I mean all, react to her the exact same way Rose does. The look on Cataline's face when she saw me? Priceless. Like a kid caught with their hand in the cookie jar, if the cookie jar was full of screaming infants. Now here's where it gets weird. As I'm standing there, mouth agape, trying to process this bizarre turn of events, one of the veteran nurses walks by. She takes one look at the scene and says, "Oh, Cataline, not again. I thought we talked about this." Apparently, this isn't the first time Cataline's been caught in this situation. The hospital had been getting complaints about a volunteer who seemed to trigger inexplicable crying fits in babies. They couldn't figure out why, but they knew who. So why keep her around, you ask? Well, remember how I said the universe has a twisted sense of humor? It turns out babies hate Cataline. She's got some kind of magic touch with older kids. Terminal cases, long-term patients, the toughest nuts to crack. They all adore her. She's like a fairy godmother for the angsty teen set. The hospital had been turning a blind eye to the baby issue because of the good she did with older kids. They just stopped assigning her to the infant ward. Until tonight, when they were short-staffed and someone messed up the schedule. I'd love to tell you I handled this revelation with grace and poise, that I calmly discussed it with Cataline, and we reached a mature understanding. But nope. I laughed. I laughed so hard I thought I might pass out. Here I was thinking I was losing my mind, that my baby was broken, or that I was a terrible mother, and all along it was just Cataline's weird baby-repelling superpower. Adam didn't find it quite so amusing when I called to fill him in. He accused me of making it up, of trying to villainize his mother. It wasn't until I got the head nurse to back me up that he finally believed me.